Is this the beginning of a trade war or not?
Oh, no, no. I mean, first of all, you'd hardly call it the beginning since we've been raising tariffs on China for a couple of administrations now, but also because there's still an awful lot of engagement, and the Chinese are still engaged in a charm offensive with American CEOs, with CEOs from around the world, because their economy is underperforming and they don't want to chase away foreign direct investment, which is not doing well right now. And they don't want to see more capital flight. Having said all of that, it is an election time in the United States, and Biden has clearly responded to the fact that a lot of people, not just Senator Joni Ernst, want the Americans to be tougher on China, and $18 billion of tariffs, including 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicle exports to the U.S., will help to respond to that political demand.
Well, Ian, your point is well taken on the idea that Beijing has been playing host to many in corporate America. They also this week, President Xi Jinping, that is playing host to Russian President Vladimir Putin as he makes a trip to China. The two of them today pledging to intensify cooperation against U.S. quote unquote containment of their countries. How worried should we be about how close these two are getting?
I'm more worried about Putin's relationship, which truly is a friendship without limits, with North Korea and Iran. He's getting a lot of weapons from them that he's using against NATO weapons in Ukraine, and he's giving them a lot of technology. And these are countries that are truly chaos actors. They're rogues. They want the U.S. to fail on the global stage. Now, the China relationship with Russia is warm, and it is getting a little friendlier. But there are still some significant limits. So on this trip, I didn't see any progress on the disruption of financial transactions between Russian exporters and Chinese financial institutions, because the Chinese government wants to avoid those American sanctions. I didn't see any progress on the construction of the Power of Siberia 2 natural gas pipeline, which the Russians really want, and the Chinese have been dragging their feet on. So there was a lot of, very warm rhetoric between the two countries, and they both criticized the United States as a country that's trying to undermine strategic stability and confiscate foreign assets and property and put unilateral coercive measures on export controls, erecting trade barriers. I mean, all of that stuff was, this sounds good from the Russian and Chinese perspective. But if you had been expecting that there was going to be a concrete policy breakthrough, like what are the deliverables that came from this summit? I don't see many concrete deliverables from this summit.
I want to point you, Ian, in your expertise to America's relationship with Israel. With a new wrinkle today, the House of Representatives, just a short time ago this afternoon, actually passed a bill, as was expected, that would stop the Biden administration from delaying weapons shipments, would compel the administration to provide weapons support, offensive weapons support to Israel. 14 Democrats split from the White House to vote for this. Now, we're hearing this won't see the light of day in the Senate, but a lot of senators are upset about it, including Lindsey Graham, the Republican from South Carolina, said this today earlier on Capitol Hill about the arms shipment to Israel that the administration put on hold. Let's listen.
There is tranches of weapons that haven't been delivered that need to be delivered. The 2,000-pound bombs are necessary to hit tunnels that the cowards are hiding in. They're deep in the ground. They need these bombs that will be, precision guided within a 10-foot radius to go down and get the tunnels. Give them the bombs.
Ian, is Lindsey Graham right?
Well, the Israelis were telling the United States this war was going to be over in a matter of a couple of months. At the beginning, it's been 7 months, and they're still not close to the end. So in that regard, the messaging from the Israeli War Cabinet has been changing a lot over time. This is putting a lot of pressure on Biden. He's losing a lot of support from not only the Republicans, but from Democrats. He's losing from Democrats in the center and on the right from trying to put any pressure on the Israeli War Cabinet in the fight in Rafah, which everyone expects is coming. and he's losing a lot of support on the Democratic left for being as close to Israel and supporting Israel as he has. This is a horrible position for Biden to be in, especially with the fact that the war is going to continue. And the Israeli prime minister, every time Biden says, we need more humanitarian aid in for the Palestinians, or we need a two-state solution, or we need you not to attack Rafah, literally every time the Israeli prime minister responds to his strongest ally, providing him most of his military support, is saying, I'm not actually going to listen to you. That makes the president look very, very weak on this global stage.
Well, especially when it's not just the global stage to consider, but the domestic one. And there is clearly a lot of upset in terms of voters' views, young voters especially, including those on college campuses, with the way that this administration has conducted its policy around Israel, and hence the protests we have seen on many college campuses across the country, of course, as well at Columbia University. And Ian, you spoke at Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs graduation this past weekend. You talked about some of the protests on campus. We have just a snippet of your speech, and then I'll ask you more.
I have absolutely no doubt that doing good and solving problems are your goals. And yet, you are leaving a campus that has been ripped apart by an intractable problem of our societies in conflict.
Ian, you clearly gave that address at an incredibly tense moment. What was it like to give it?
It was the context was challenging. There were probably a solid 15 or 20% of the graduating students that were wearing keffiyeh in solidarity with the Palestinians, had Palestinian flags that they brought up onto the stage, and or had calls for divestment, a little like wrapped up diploma types that they were handing to the dean, conferring their certificates to them. So, I mean, there's no question this was a hot issue and there were strong passions. But I will tell you, not one student turned their back. Not one student left the ceremony. Everybody applauded afterwards. At the beginning of the speech, there were, I heard some chanting, I heard some disruptions, and I just said it was like almost as if there was a fight in a bar. I was just like, hey. Like, just, I'm getting there. I hear you. I'm with you. Give me a second. I'll get there. And to their incredible credit, they did. They did. And over the course of the speech, you could see them willing to listen and engage. And that's been my experience with my students all year long. And that's been my experience on the Columbia campus, that, you can watch the headlines and you can see a small number of crazy people that will give you the headline that you want to promote, that says that they support Hamas. These students don't support Hamas. It's not at all. These students are young people that feel like, a whole bunch of dispossessed people are getting the short end of the stick, and they want to do something about it. Students always have. And if you respect them and you listen to them and you engage with them, you can also challenge them. But it is absolutely essential, if you're going to challenge students, that you're going to be honest and authentic with them, and you're going to talk about your failings and what you haven't done right yourself before they give you any willingness to pay attention. And that I think is the hard thing for a lot of people to do right now.